Good evening, viewers. Welcome back to another episode here on Confessions Corner. Our first confession reads like this. I was a maid for a family that did money rituals and I saw their secret. My name is Anonymous and I am lucky to be alive. I came from Johannesburg, from a small village in KwaZulu-Natal, hoping to find work and send money back home. When I was offered a job as a live-in maid for a rich couple in Sandton, I thought I had made it. I will call the family them Tembos. Mr. Sipho and Mrs. Tandy were wealthy beyond imagination. Their house was like a palace with marble floors, gold-trimmed furniture, and chandeliers in every room. But from the first day, I knew something wasn't right. Before I even unpacked my bags, Mrs. Tandy called me into the kitchen. She looked me straight into the eyes and said, "There is only one rule in this house. After 10 p.m., you must never wake up. No matter what you hear, no matter what happens, stay in your room." I wanted to ask, but I was afraid of losing my job, so I just nodded. At first, everything seemed normal. During the day, I cleaned, cooked, and made sure the house was spotless. The Tembos were strict, not cruel. They paid me well and gave me food, but at night, strange things happened. I would hear whispers like voices talking in another language. Sometimes there was a low hissing sound like a snake moving through the walls. Other times I felt something cold brush against my feet when I got out of bed, but when I switched on the light, there was nothing. One night I made the biggest mistake of my life. It was 10 p.m. and I had woken up to use the bathroom. As I walked past the living room, I saw a light flickering. The TV was on. At first I thought Mr. and Mrs. Mtembo had left it on by mistake, but then I saw it lying on the couch, watching TV like a human. It was the biggest snake I had never seen. Its thick black body stretched across the cushions, and its glowing yellow eyes were locked onto the screen. It was massive, at least 4 meters along. I could hear it breathing, slow and steady, like it was completely relaxed. I froze. My body refused to move. I tried to hold my breath, but my heart was beating so loudly that I was afraid it would hear me. And then the snake turned its head and looked straight at me. My body reacted before my brain did. I stumbled backwards, knocking over a glass vase. The sound shattered the silence. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps came rushing down the stairs. Within seconds, Mr. and Mrs. Mtembo were standing in front of me. Their faces were filled with anger and also something else, fear. "You saw it," Mr. Mtembo whispered. I couldn't speak. I couldn't even cry. Miss Mtembo sniffed and shook her head. "You were warned." Before I could run, they grabbed me. They dragged me to a door I had never seen before, hidden behind a bookshelf in the hallway. Behind it was a dark stairs leading underground. They took me to a room filled with candles, strange symbols drawn on the walls. In the middle of the room, there was an altar stained dark with something I didn't want to think about. "You know our secret now," Miss Mtembo said. "That means you must join us." I screamed. I begged, but they didn't listen. From that night, I was no longer just a maid. I was trapped in their world, forced to be part of their rituals, forced to save the snake. I don't know how I escaped. Maybe the ancestors protected me. Maybe the snake didn't want me. All I know is that one night I ran. I ran until my feet bled, until I found someone who helped me. If you ever work in a house where you are told not to wake up after a certain time, leave. I wish I could tell you I escaped, but the truth is I never truly left. The night them Tembos dragged me into the secret room, I fought, I kicked, I screamed, I begged them to let me go, but nothing worked. They weren't just an ordinary rich couple. They had power I couldn't understand. You saw him, Miss Ntembo said, her voice eerily calm. That means he has chosen you. I didn't understand who had chosen me. Then I heard it, a slow, heavy slither against the floor. I turned my head and saw the massive black snake moving towards me. Its golden eyes glowed in the dim candlelight, its forked tongue flicking out as if it could taste my fear. This is not just a snake, Mr. Mtembo said, watching me closely. He is our husband, our provider, our God. I shook my head violently. No, I won't do this. Miss Ntembo just smiled. You don't have a choice. Before I could react, something cold wrapped around my ankles. The snake, its body coiled around me, slowly slithering up my legs, my waist, my shoulders. I tried to fight, but the moment its head rested against mine, something strange happened. My body stopped struggling. I felt something inside me shift, like a part of me was being pulled away. I couldn't explain it, but suddenly the fear was gone. Instead, there was understanding. The snake wasn't just a snake. It was something older, something powerful, something that had lived for generations, granting wealth and power to those who served it, and now it had chosen me. The Mtembos placed the strange beads around my neck, dressed me in a long red cloth, and forced me to kneel in front of the altar. They chanted words I didn't understand. The room felt hot, like fire was leaking at my skin, but I couldn't move. Then the snake opened its mouth and flickered its tongue over my forehead. Everything went black. When I woke up, I wasn't the same. I could hear whispers even when no one was speaking. I could sense things before they happened. My skin felt different, smoother, colder. My dreams were filled with visions of darkness, of riches, of people kneeling before me. I was no longer just me. I had become one of them. They taught me the rituals, the sacrifices, the rules of serving the great serpent. At first, I resisted, but the more I tried to fight it, the deeper it pulled me in. My old life felt distant, like a dream I could barely remember. And then I saw the money, the power, the respect. I no longer needed to clean houses. People bowed when I entered a room. Strangers came to me offering gifts, begging for my blessings. And worst of all, I liked it. Now when I walk through the street, people see a young, beautiful woman. They don't know what I am. They don't know what watches my eyes. But if you ever see me in a dark place, if you ever hear a soft hissing when I pass by, walk away, because once the snake chooses you, there is no escape. I became the snake's wife. I used to think I had a choice, that if I prayed hard enough, if I begged my ancestors, if I found the right sangoma, I could break free. But now I know the truth. There is no escape. Once you marry the snake, the Mtembos prepared me for the final ritual. For 7 nights, they locked me in a dark room beneath their mansion. No food, no water, only the whispers of unseen spirits filling my ears. My body weakened. My mind was changing. I started hearing the snake's voice inside me. It whispered my name. You are mine. On the seventh night, the Mtembos entered the room. They carried a golden bowl filled with thick black liquid. Drink, Miss Mtembo ordered. I shook my head, trembling. I don't want to. Mr. Mtembo knelt beside me, his voice calm, persuasive. You already belong to him. If you refuse, he will take you by force. But if you accept, you will have power beyond your wildest dream. I was too weak to fight, too tired to resist. I took the bowl and drank. The moment the liquid touched my tongue, my body caught fire. I screamed as something burned inside me, spreading through my veins like molten lava. I fell to the floor, convulsing, my vision going black. And then I saw him, not as a snake, but as a man, a tall, dark-skinned figure with golden eyes that burned into my soul. He reached out, his fingers long and cold, brushing against my cheek. You are mine now, he whispered. And just like that, I wasn't me anymore. When I woke up, I was back in the mansion, lying on silky sheets. My body felt different, lighter, stronger, hungrier. Miss Mtembo sat beside me, smiling like a proud mother. How do you feel? She asked. I opened my mouth and answered, but what came out was a low hiss. I sat up, gasping. My skin felt colder, smoother. My nails were longer, sharper. I looked at my reflection in the gold-framed mirror across the room. My once dark eyes were now glowing yellow, just like his. I was no longer human. The first rule of saving the snake is simple. To receive, you must give. The Mtembos took me to an underground chamber deep beneath their mansion. The air was thick with the smell of burning herbs and something metallic, blood. A young man knelt before me, trembling. His hands were tied behind his back, his mouth gagged, and looked up at me with pleading eyes. Take his life, Mr. Mtembo said. Show your loyalty to your husband. My heart pounded and I didn't want to do it. But then the hunger came, a deep, aching hunger that clawed at my insides. I could feel the snake inside me twisting, demanding my fingers burned with power. One life for wealth, one life for power. I stepped forward, placed my hands on the boy's head and whispered an apology. Then I ended him. The moment his body went limp, a wave of pleasure and power surged through me. My skin tingled and my vision sharpened. I felt unstoppable and I wanted more. Now I no longer fear the snake. I am part of him. People whisper about me in the streets. They say I'm beautiful, untouchable, powerful woman, beg to know my secrets. Men throw money at my feet hoping for my attention, but they don't know the price I paid. Every full moon I shed my human skin and returned to my true form, a dark slithering creature that hunts in the night, feeding on the unlucky souls who cross my path. I no longer pray. The ancestors have abandoned me, but the snake, he loves me, he protects me, and as long as I serve him, I will never suffer. Wouldn't you like to join me? What a scary story. Please, after listening to the story, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe.